Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Tomorrow's Talent Q&A. My name is Jana Toomey. I'm an assistant director at Michigan Technological University Center for Educational Outreach. Tomorrow's Talent series is all about showcasing in-demand careers through virtual job shadowing videos, Q&As, and curriculum resources. Today, we are so excited to be joined by Nathan and Austin, co-founders of Chicken Tramper Ultralight gear. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Nice to see you both today.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Jana.
So in case any viewers out there haven't seen their video yet, make sure you stop by our Tomorrow's Talent Series website, check it out, and learn just what Ultralight Backpacking Company co-founders do during a day. So today, if you have any questions to ask Nathan and Austin, you can see the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to submit your questions. And with that, can you guys tell me a little bit about how Chicken Tramper got started?
Yeah, for sure. So Nathan and I are good friends from college, and towards the end of our last year, we both decided we wanted to go hike out west on the Pacific Crest Trail, and we found that the backpack options online were pretty expensive if you really wanted to cut your weight down. So Ospreys maybe weigh about 4 pounds, an Osprey backpack, but if you want to go lighter into the 2-pound range, those were pretty costly. So we both decided to make our own backpacks, and we hiked with them out there and found that they worked pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty much the very start of it. And once we got out there, we kind of figured that, well, our backpacks are pretty good right now. And this is our first round, and talking to other people out there on the trail, just about what they like in their own packs and that kind of thing. We kind of got the idea of, well, if we can make these and we can make other packs that are what people are actually want, it seems like a pretty viable business idea.
So that was your mission, to kind of be the affordable, durable, good quality backpack guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And we wanted to have all of our focus be on our customers. So while we were on trail, we wanted to figure out what sort of attachments or what was important to them when it came to comfort or durability. And that was one of the big things, is people didn't want to buy a backpack that would only last for a couple thousand miles. They really wanted it to last for multiple through hikes.
Yep.
So you both went to school for engineering, but was owning a business ever a dream of yours?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we had been throwing around, probably like the second half of our college career, and really starting to think about how it would be super nice to work for ourselves and how we can make that work. But we never really had a plan on what that company would be. It was always just sort of a pipe dream kind of thing that we talked about and, joked around about. And then once we saw an opportunity for us to do something, we kind of latched onto it and said, all right, this is something we've always talked about doing, and this is a good idea that we think we know a lot about in the background, and we think we can make these and develop these skills. And so we grabbed that and said, all right, we're going to try this for our business.
What feelings did you experience? What was it like when you both made the commitment to, we're doing this?
Yeah, it's a combination of quite a lot of feelings. Obviously, we were very excited. It's hard to describe how exciting and adrenaline-filled it is to put yourself out there and see if people are interested in something that you're creating with your own two hands. But we were also pretty scared, which is a natural feeling to have when you're going out into the unknown.
Yeah. And for a while, Austin was doing it full time, and then I was working a full-time engineering job and then doing this on the side. And then, that transition to doing it full time was definitely exciting and scary. Walking into my boss's office and quitting my first real job was definitely a huge thing in my head about, this is kind of, the normal path. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go off and do this other thing. And so it was super scary, but it opens up a lot of other opportunities and a lot of cool stuff that we get to do now. So it was super exciting as well.
Yeah, and like Nathan said, it's not exactly the normal path to graduate with an engineering degree and then move in with your best friend into his 2-bedroom apartment and not have a real job. I experienced a lot of friction, with family trying to counsel me into other directions, but we really believed in our product and what we were making for people, so we kept on going.
That's great. So what are some of the skills or knowledge that you brought with you to this business from your engineering background?
One of the biggest ones is spatial visualization skills. So when you have something that you sew, it's a 3D object, but in order to make it that, you have to take a bunch of 2D components and put them together in the right ways with the right angles. So being able to visualize how to turn these components into an actual product, that's quite a big one.
Mm-hmm. And then with that, just a lot of things that you learn through engineering from, processing and streamlining and how to make, kind of bulk things at the same time, and lining up how you're actually going to do the flow through, from raw materials to the finished product. That's definitely sort of the peripheral engineering thing that you learn. So we learned that, doing things in big bulk orders is way faster than doing individual things. And we streamlined down all of our design processes as much as possible too. So now instead of drawing things by hand, we're starting to do everything with a computer model, so we can just type everything else in, and then the AutoCAD will just do everything and populate all the dimensions and spit out the right stuff, and making patterns and doing all sorts of things like that sort of aren't directly engineering, but things that you learn about engineering and the process of making things you definitely learn along the way.
Yeah, when you graduate with an engineering degree, there's always this talk about how we just train to become glorified problem solvers, and it's definitely accurate. Engineers learn how to see a problem, not know the answer or how to get there, but just start taking steps, doing research, and finding ways to get there. There's quite a few things that we didn't know very much about beforehand, but just with research and continuing to move forward, you end up getting closer and closer to what you need.
That seems like really important aspects of running your own business. On the flip side, what were some of the business skills that you had to learn really quickly that you weren't familiar with?
Well, I didn't know like anything about taxes, and I know a lot about taxes now. So that was one of the things, kind of like how Austin said, is about, getting into things that you don't know about. You just got to start going out and finding and researching and talking to people. And I think a lot of that business side of things, I wasn't really privy to at all in any of my previous experience. So it was a lot of going through and making sure we have all the right paperwork set up for that, and also just sort of the legal entities of starting the business, and going through making sure all that paperwork stuff is all together. And I think that was probably the biggest thing I've learned so far outside of engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first product that you guys developed to sell on your website?
So I think that would probably be our fanny pack. We had backpacks that we were selling on the website, but we advertised that they were still prototype models. The fanny pack was the first completed product. And for those backpacks that we were offering discounts and requesting for them to give us information back after using them after a period of time. That way we could improve on those packs. And I remember I was still on trail when Nathan had gone home to work his full-time engineering job. So while I was still hiking out there, I texted Nathan asking him for a fanny pack, and he ended up making a new model, improving on the one that he used on trail, and sent me one in a box with some candy, Oreos, and other stuff, which is always great.
Yeah, so in the video you did talk about how you redesign items based on feedback, but when they're on the trail, how are you collecting that feedback?
Yeah, so we get a lot of it through Google surveys that we send out for our bigger items like the backpacks. It was kind of like about once a month we'd send a survey out to them, asking them about mileage on their pack, and any wear and tears, any stitches that are coming out, or anything just in general that they'd like improved. So we pretty much would send it out to them on trail, and then wait for them to get to a place where they had internet that they could fill it out. So that's kind of how we got information for the bigger things. And then a lot of the smaller things and accessories, we get a lot of feedback just through email, just asking people that are out there. Because usually when people are on trail, they'll email us and say, hey, can you send this ahead to wherever I'm going to be next? And then once we have that email communication, we get a better idea of what they're using it for and kind of what they're looking for in the product.
Yep. And then nowadays as well, we've been sending gear to different gear reviewers online. Some people approach us, some of them we're approaching them, trying to send out gear to people who are just gearheads and love talking about it, have websites dedicated to it. And we've gotten a lot of good tips from them about just small tweaks to change, small issues, and we're always happy to hear about them so that we can fix them.
Mm-hmm.
Is most of the feedback that you receive useful? Are there any bits that are like, maybe we're not going to work that into the design?
Yeah, there's definitely that. A lot of times, it's overall it's been pretty positive. Usually they're just smaller things on there, but we definitely get emails from people that are like, "Hey, I had this idea for, this product or a modification on this product," and they'll lay out some really detailed, complicated things to add on there. And yeah, you definitely get some things that are just not feasible either from putting it actually together and making it work or, how what it is compared to what people are going to use it for. So there's a lot of sort of differentiating you got to do between what we should actually do and put on the website and what are just sort of custom kind of frivolous things.
So right now, you both are handling every aspect of your business. What responsibilities do you think you spend the most time on?
We probably spend the bulk of our time making things. And that's maybe one of our favorite parts of it too. It's really rewarding to be able to go through a bulk order of wallets or water bottle pouches, and at the very end lay them all out on the table and you see 100 of these products you just spend hours making. That's really rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's probably the majority of our time is actually sewing and sealing and doing stuff to make things.
You said that's one of your favorite aspects, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably my favorite. Maybe tied with talking with our customers. That's a really enjoyable thing as well. Whether we're just getting a call of someone that's curious and buying our backpacks and wants to ask questions about it and see what they're like, or if it's someone calling us after having used our backpack and saying, "Hey, I've never had a backpack fit me like this. This is amazing." Actually got a call the other day of someone who was hiking with someone with our packs, and that's what she told him. So he ended up buying a pack for him and his wife.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, how do you develop relationships with the wholesalers that you work with?
Yeah, well, pretty much, we kind of had an idea of the main wholesalers and stuff like that were out there, and a lot of it was just us reaching out, and we picked up some of the smaller wholesalers back when we were smaller, and then once we got larger, our larger wholesalers started to pick us up and include more products and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was quite a lot of just reaching out to people
Mm-hmm.
and then continuing to talk to them as we developed our products. Our biggest wholesaler right now is Garage Grown Gear, and we reached out to them maybe 3 or 4 months into starting the business, and they weren't interested in our products at the time. They were saturated with backpacks. We didn't have a big array of accessory items yet, but they came back to us about a year or a little bit less later and said, "Hey, we've been keeping an eye on you guys. We had been talking to them a little bit, and now they wanted to carry our accessory items. So now we wholesale quite a bit through them."
Do you think that there are certain benefits or challenges to not having a brick and mortar store?
Yeah, so it's definitely different. Probably the biggest benefit of not having an actual store is that we have a really low overhead right now. We don't have to pay for a second property to actually house everything, and we don't have to pay for all the utilities that go along with that. I think probably maybe the biggest challenge though is because people can't just come in and see things on our store. We have to put a lot of information online, both on our website and through Instagram and whatever we're doing, to try and describe all the products and stuff like that, and show people how they can use them and where they attach and how you can put stuff in them and stuff like that. So it's a lot of upfront informational that we got to put out there and get out there because people can't actually come in and play with the stuff themselves.
So switching gears a little bit, in regards to marketing, what strategies do you think are most successful for your company?
For us, we spend a lot of time on Instagram, and then we recently expanded to Google Ads. Instagram has just been great for us, whether it's communicating with people in our market and our potential future customers or current customers, talking to them, commenting on their posts with our stuff. And then we also do paid ads on Instagram, advertising, different sales that we're doing at the time. And it's really great being able to be in a field that's, in the outdoors, because a lot of people who are buying our products are photographers or taking pictures of their stuff constantly. So we get a lot of pictures from our customers that we can then keep posting and shout out everyone who wears our gear.
Mhm. Yeah, and then Google has been just really great the past couple months. You know, people talk about targeted advertising and how effective it is, and that's super true. We're like starting to build, you know, our Google portfolio and starting to target the right people, because it's kind of the idea of you can have some really great stuff, but if you're not getting it to the people that actually want to buy that stuff, then you're not going to sell anything. So having, you know, the Google ads and our freelance marketer go through and say, all right, we're going to add all these tags and all these different categories and stuff like that and try and target all the people that are actually looking for these has just been huge for us.
Yeah, this has been one small part of our business that we actually did outsource. We found a freelancer who lives down in Texas, and he runs our Google ads, and he's just been doing a fantastic job and took a little bit of weight off our back and ended up making us, you know, a little more widespread, more well-known.
So looking at the company as a whole, you know, you guys are still relatively young as a business, but is there anything that you wish you would have done differently so far in your journey?
Probably a few things. It's hard to say because the path, you know, led us here, but there's a lot of things that we've implemented in the last 2 months, like hiring the freelance marketer, creating bundles on our website where if you buy a fanny pack, you get a free wallet, you buy a backpack, you get some accessories, you know, 20-30% off. Implementing some of those earlier probably would have helped us out. And then we recently started bulking our own inventory for non-custom items. So all of the accessory items and the multiple color variations, we've got inventory bulked up. So now that if we get an order, we can just grab it from the shelf, throw it in the bubble mailer and ship it right out that day.
So earlier in our conversation, you were kind of talking about, you know, somebody hiking with a friend out on trail that had one of your backpacks. What do you hope customers are telling their friends about your company, and what do you guys want to be known for?
Yeah, I think our main things are, you know, we want to make lightweight, durable packs that last a long time, at least one through hike, and that we have really good customer service. And that's are kind of the main points that we're pushing out there. So make good products and talk to people and make sure they're happy.
Yep. It's all about the customer, making them happy.
I think a lot of companies say that, but not as many follow through like you guys do.
Try, yeah.
So as you grow, what characteristics are you going to look for in your future employees?
It might be counterintuitive. We're not exactly looking for people who are expert sewers. Nathan and I are actually self-taught, and we both learned how to sew when we were making our first backpacks 2.5 years ago. But what we're looking for is an eagerness to learn and work ethic. Someone who wants to learn the skill, is passionate about it, and will put in the time to get good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. And you know, especially finding somebody that wants to do that, but like do different things within sort of the company, because you know there's a lot of different products to make and different processes that we use and stuff like that. And definitely finding somebody that has the willingness and ability to learn a bunch of different sort of skill sets and then implement those well.
And it's lucky that Nathan and I found a company that we could start geared towards the outdoors. We've been hiking and backpacking our whole lives. We really like being outside, so a passion for the outdoors would probably be a prerequisite, though I don't know why you would apply if you weren't.
What are some of your dreams or visions that you have for Chicken Trampers' future?
Yeah, we definitely have a dream one day of having maybe a brick and mortar store, but more just a large building where we can have some employees, a bunch of sewing machines, and maybe a small storefront towards the front where people could come in, see everybody working, take a look at the backpacks, try some on, and get to know us face to face.
Yeah, definitely build it up enough that we can offload some more of the day-to-day smaller stuff, and then you know we can focus on like the, you know, at least the backpacks and like some bigger picture things, new prototypes and stuff like that. That's
designing
really cool.
New products. Yeah, the idea starting out, we still want to sew, we still want to work for the company, but at some point we want to be able to go take a month and hike out west. So to have that be an option would be great.
You can call it marketing because you'll be out there with your backpacks.
Yep,
Exactly.
marketing, testing, it's all tax deductible.
So some companies support social or environmental activism through their profits or their messaging. Do you see yourselves using Chicken Tramper to support causes that you believe in the future?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about doing that once we get a little bit bigger and have some more free time and free reign to go into that stuff. We've definitely talked about giving back to both sort of nature conservancy sorts of places, but also the associations that kind of take care of the trails. So the PCTA or the Appalachian
Trail Association.
Yeah.
ATA.
So all those ones, and definitely giving back to those guys, because I think we both feel like we've gotten so much from the work that they've done, and keeping the trails open and parks open and stuff like that, that we definitely feel a need to give back and help support that side of things, to help people get outside and get the experience that we got.
Yep, we absolutely hope to do that soon. And in the meantime, while we can't quite do that financially, we're trying to do it in other ways, educationally. So on our website and in every mailer that we send out, we list the leave no trace principles and trying to encourage people to hike under those principles, and to just be good stewards of the environment and the trails that they walk on.
What do you think are important characteristics of entrepreneurs?
You should be comfortable with the unknown.
Yeah, it's okay to not know something when you're first getting into it, and don't be afraid of it. But it's also on you to go out and find that information. So don't be afraid to ask people questions and stuff like that. There's a lot of good resources that are out there. But I think that's probably the biggest thing, is understanding what you don't know, and then understanding how do you find information that you don't know yet.
I'd also say expand your network and reach out to your network. Like Nathan said, always ask questions, but who you're asking them of is important too. We were connected with a few different companies that are adjacent to our market. So there's a Michigan Tech graduate who owns a company down in Nevada called Rogue Panda, and he makes bike packing packs. So a similar deal, but instead of putting it on your back, you strap it to your bike frame. We reached out to him pretty early on, and he gave us a lot of good advice, reaching out to the Small Business Association, where we got a mentor for free. He helped us develop some stuff early on. He told us how good Instagram would be for marketing, and he was right. Reaching out to your network, expanding your network, and not being afraid to ask questions.
Do you have any other advice for students who might think they want to own their own business one day?
I would say if you think that's something you want to do, then start thinking about it now. And it's kind of one of those things where you can go out and start learning the business side of stuff if you want to. But I think the biggest thing is to keep your eye out for different niches and markets that you think you can solve. So kind of like how we talked about earlier, this wasn't something that we went out and said, oh, we decided right away we were going to make a backpacking company. It was kind of like, all right, well, we're kind of interested in this business, and we kind of want to have our own business. And then we started looking in different places to, all right, well, where would a business be viable? Like where's a hole that we can try and help fill, and what's a need that we can help fill. And so if you're interested in that, just keep your eyes peeled and start looking for stuff, in your own life, or, online, or wherever you're doing, and say, all right, well, there's a problem over there, or that person needs this, and then just start thinking about that and thinking about if that could be built into what you want your business to be.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to pivot either. We started the company making backpacks, a few accessory items, and fanny packs. We knew we'd eventually make more products, but we didn't know what they were. And then we stumbled ourselves into making these camera bags for people while they're hiking. Just a friend asked for one. We made it, put it on the website, and it turned out to be rather popular. So we never expected to be camera bag makers, but that became part of our brand, that we're pretty known in the community for making these custom camera bags for people.
All right, guys, last question. Is there anything else that you want people to know about Chicken Tramper before we leave here?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Healthy to go outside every day. So
yeah, if anybody's got questions for us, I guess send us an email about the company, or if you got any questions more on that. But yeah, I think we covered most of it. It's kind of who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here today. For those of you watching, make sure you keep an eye on our Tomorrow's Panel Series website. We're featuring many more different careers in business this month, and we'll be talking about a lot of different fields throughout the year to come. Also want to say thank you to our partners, MySTEM Network, Michigan Works, Bay College, Gogeeba Community College, and our CTE educators. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem.
Jana. Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you.